On October 8, 2018, Hurricane Michael underwent a 48-hour rapid intensification period where it went from a Category 1 hurricane to a Category 4 hurricane. By landfall on October 10, 2018 at 12:30 p.m. Central Time, Hurricane Michael was an unprecedented for the region Category 5 hurricane, making landfall near Tyndall Air Force Base, Florida. Hurricane Michael was the strongest hurricane in recorded history to make landfall on the Florida Panhandle. Landing with sustained winds of 161 miles per hour and a minimum pressure of 919 millibars, the storm was the fourth most powerful hurricane to hit the United States, spreading devastation far inland through many counties in northwestern Florida, from Bay County, Gulf County, Calhoun County, even through Jackson County and Leon County, where the state capital is located. Hurricane Michael was unique in that it maintained its major hurricane status all the way through the Florida-Georgia state line. As it entered Seminole County, Georgia, it was still a strong Category 3 hurricane. Across northwestern Florida and into the state of Georgia, Hurricane Michael was responsible for $25 billion in damages. These are the 31 voices of Hurricane Michael, representing the many unique experiences and perspectives of the community members who endured the storm and its impacts. Voices of hope, empathy, pain, lessons learned, grit, determination, and extensive insight into one of the most catastrophic hurricane seasons the Florida Panhandle has ever encountered. I'm meteorologist Melissa Thomas, and allow me to introduce you to
meteorologist Melissa Thomas here with another one of the voices of the project Hurricane Michael's Voice. Today we're speaking with Miss Danielle Wood. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
And we're going to go over a little bit of her experience through Hurricane Michael and its landfall on October 10th, 2018. But first, let's start with a little bit of background. Miss Danielle, how was Panama City home to you before the hurricane?
So we moved here, my husband and I and our two girls, 2 years prior to Hurricane Michael. He was in the Navy.
Okay.
We were in Virginia for 8 years and then moved here. He
My
works
sister's
on,
in the Navy in
I
Virginia right
love
now.
it up in Virginia.
I was there 2 weeks ago.
We were
Yeah,
there a month
Norfolk.
ago. Yes.
Yep.
So he got a job on a government, a Navy research vessel.
Yep.
And they were actually out in the bay during the storm. But that is why we came here, for his job.
Wait.
Oh,
hold
yes.
up. We're talking about Miss Danielle's story, but we're going to tangent to your husband's story real quick. You said he's in the Navy currently?
No, he's out of the Navy.
Out of
He
the Navy.
is, and he works on a Navy research vessel. It's for
the
the
Navy
government,
research-
but he's a civilian.
Were they in the storm because of the storm?
Yes. They're not allowed to
Please.
have the ship anchored at the pier.
Elaborate as oh, okay. So I was going to say.
So
as much as
anytime
you
a
can. I know
storm
some-
is
sometimes
coming,
military,
they have
operations
to
you
leave.
can't. Okay.
It's for safety of the ship.
Yeah. So you are going through this without your husband then?
Yes, me
Because
and
he's
my two
keeping
girls.
ships safe in the
Yep.
Navy. Wow. Wow. Yeah. That was very strong of you.
It was terrifying.
And you said you have little ones?
6 and 8, two girls.
2 girls. So little Hurricane Michael voices. They're not here today. We've had a few come in and run
They
across
wanted
the
to.
camera.
They definitely wanted to.
So the hurricane season 2018 rolls around. Obviously, your husband is prepping to get the Navy ships where they need to go. But actually, let's kind of rewind before that, before he's getting instructions to do that. How are you feeling that summer? Are you thinking hurricanes? Are you
No,
prepared?
not at all. We had friends come visit from Virginia. We were actually out on a boat the day that we found out it was coming.
Oh, wow.
I mean, everything was normal. We
Yeah. It kind of happened
Didn't
really
think
quick.
any-
It snowballed.
very
You're
quick.
getting information, and then all of a sudden it's intensifying.
Yeah, it was Monday that we found out. So I mean, we weren't thinking about a hurricane.
Yep, Monday. That makes sense because then Monday through Tuesday it starts to rapidly intensify. And
Yep.
especially Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, you're going from like maybe Monday night, Tuesday morning 2, and then
2
Wednesday
or
night is
3, yeah.
and then you're waking up to a 4 Wednesday morning.
I mean, I was making jokes about it. I thought people were panicking for no reason.
Yeah,
I'm
think
a
a lot of
Floridian.
people
I mean,
were. Yeah, you're Floridian. Yeah, a lot of people were. So Monday, you find out, what are you doing to scramble in the next 2 days?
I really didn't scramble. I mean, he packed his bag to get on the ship, and I packed a few pictures and stuff because I didn't want to be in the house by myself. So I packed a few photos and got 1 case of water from Winn-Dixie, got all my animals. We got 2 dogs and we had 2 cats at the time. Loaded them up in crates and we went to my best friend's house down the road.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was wondering if you were leading into evacuating with animals, because that is a very difficult thing to do, and why a lot of people don't evacuate.
Oh yeah,
Their
I
animals,
mean
their
it's
family.
a lot to tote around.
So you go to your friend's house, and this is in town.
Yeah,
It's a
on
stronger
3
structure.
she's only about 5 miles from me.
Okay.
It was just mainly because I didn't want to be alone.
Oh, that's right. True. Very smart. The storm rolls through. How'd you
So
guys fare
we obviously stayed up all night. We took
Yeah.
turns sleeping, watching on the news, and then the next morning started getting bad. And she had her whole family there. They're from here. The men were holding doors closed, and we were with all the kids. It was probably 6 kids, I want to say.
goodness.
8 and under. My daughter was the oldest there. We all huddled in the hallway, and then at the bad part of it, the peak of the roof
Yeah.
got ripped off, and that's when the water started coming in from the attic little entries. So we moved the kids into the bathroom, and then their front windows busted out, so we put a mattress up there.
What were you doing during that time to help keep the children calm and collected? Was there anything you felt like was working and not working?
They really, it didn't even seem like they really knew.
Really?
What was- I mean-
kind of very resilient.
Yeah, afterwards you could tell that, I mean, they were scared, but they kind of
Probably had a
played
lot of
and
adrenaline.
colored
Yeah,
and
being young and
played on iPhones until we lost signal.
so as the storm rolls through, I think immediately kind of moves out of the area. Well, not immediately, but moves out of the area. What is your immediate kind of walking out into this new?
It just looked 100% different. My best friend's house that we stayed at, her husband's workshop, he's got car lifts and stuff out there. All of the metal panels had been ripped off of that. They had built a tree house on stilts that was on the ground. I mean, there was just stuff everywhere. I was backed in by a power line, so I couldn't get out. But I wanted to get home. I wanted to see if my home was okay.
Yeah, of course.
Didn't make it home. I loaded the kids in the truck and our animals, and we made it about halfway down 2301. And that's when the sky got really creepy. I'm sure you saw that night. I don't know. It was weird.
I was currently studying in Tallahassee when I moved over.
So it was like, I don't know, it was like a weird haze.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to explain it. But it scared me because I ran into a down line and I didn't know if it was live, and it freaked me out
scary.
really bad, and we were coming down to curfew.
Yeah.
And it was a family on 2301 who now I am friends with. They took us in for the night because the dad saw me crying in my truck, and they took us and our animals and kids, and we stayed the night with complete strangers, and it couldn't have been better, really.
Yeah, complete strangers.
Complete strangers.
See, and that's one of the recurring things that we're running into is just the immediacy of
It was
connecting
amazing.
with your fellow man.
I would do
in this
October 11th
situation.
and 12th all over again.
Yeah.
Because everybody cared about it. Everybody. You were just there for each other.
And as much as Michael has taken away, Hurricane Michael has taken away from this community, that's something it can never take away.
No.
That exposed us to this beautiful side of mankind, and it can never take that experience away.
No, not at all. I wish it was still like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. You have that disaster amnesia that takes over, and people go back to their busy lives, especially with recovery being involved, and then the added stress to that.
oh yeah, it's a lot
Such
mentally to
nice
happen.
Colors come out. Yeah.
But the next morning, I went home with the wife. Actually, she drove home with me. We left my kids playing with her grandkids, and I didn't want them to see it.
Yeah.
I really figured our house was going to be gone, and it was not.
Yay.
We had, repairs obviously, but it was still there, and that's all that mattered.
So you're able to live in it.
Yeah. There's a lot of mold issues, but we don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
That's the whole insurance thing. So
Yeah. And which you are, we're coming up on the year anniversary of Hurricane Michael. So a year later, you're still struggling with
Yes.
hurricane or insurance.
Well, our insurance finally did, send us the check. We got our endorsement, sent it to our mortgage company, and now they are refusing to give it to us.
Okay. So that is not the only story of struggle when it comes to the insurance process.
It's absolutely
the
insane. Things should be
contractor
changed.
process. Yeah, there's probably a whole nother documentary we should investigate doing to shine some light on what has been done well on the insurance side, what has been done terrible on the insurance side, and how it can be bettered for the next
I
one.
don't think anybody thought a year later we'd still be trying to just have a roof. I mean, I still have windows boarded up and,
Your windows are still boarded up.
oh yeah, we haven't gotten one single repair done. We have new leaks coming in from the tarps that the Army Corps
Yeah.
people came and did, so that's leaking now, so we have new water damage.
And a lot of repairs for the for a repair to be resilient and efficient needs to be done like almost right out the gate when something
yeah.
like this happens. So for
Especially when it comes to water.
yes. So the sooner you can get to repairing something, the longer that repair is going to last, the more stable your home is going to remain
Oh, yeah.
for its lifetime. So the fact that this process is so long, I think, is eye-opening for many future insurance companies, communities to investigate and look at and study, because we have so many home losses and people that are being forced out of their homes that may not have had to go through that.
Oh, yeah.
If the process had been a little bit more streamlined, they've gotten there. I mean, this isn't just asking for like FEMA assistance. This isn't asking
No,
for
I mean,
grants. This is insurance
we
that
have
you pay
insurance,
for.
yeah.
Yes, that we haven't gone into the insurance side very much in this project, but I think it is good for one of our interviews to dive into that a little bit and shine some light on that struggle.
I mean, we pay
you're
for it,
not
it's
the only
rightfully
one.
ours.
Yeah.
We
And-
do what we're supposed to do, and we expect that money to be there when we need it.
And the longer it takes to get your way, the longer the repairs to your home are going to take.
Mm.
If and some things, that timeline might be that window's getting shorter of when it can be when
Oh,
it
yeah.
becomes non-repairable.
I mean, there's black mold, and with the mold sitting there and more moisture coming in, it spreads it even more. I mean,
So I'm glad we highlighted that in this particular interview, because that is something that I do want attention to be paid to. So I asked the question, how were the next couple of weeks like, and how are the next couple of months like? But the progress was usually so slow, the answer is the same for most people. What did that look like for you? Immediately, or the recovery in its early stages?
I mean, as far as our recovery mentally, I think my entire family is still trying to work through it.
Oh, yeah.
We took our kids to Central Florida that way because we didn't have any cell phone signal, so obviously nobody knew we were alive. I didn't know my husband was alive until almost 36 hours later. He finally showed up.
36 hours.
And that was the best moment of my entire life.
I'm sure.
So we drove to Central Florida to drop our kids off with my husband's parents, and came back, and we just started working on the yard, and my cousin from Alabama came, and we were cooking a bunch of food. We served it down at the M&M Mart on our road. So we were just feeding people. It
So
kept me
you're
busy.
recovering and simultaneously helping everyone else.
It kept me busy, and it kept
Yeah.
my brain from
Yeah,
focusing on the bad.
that's good.
Met some awesome people that lost way more than I did, that still wanted to help.
When you are keeping busy, the days and the weeks and the months are flying by. At what point in the year are you starting to feel like you have some sort of stable grounding to continue to recover? Because we're coming up on the year anniversary.
I
I'm
don't
sure
think that
you're
I have
not.
felt any stable ground. I think once our power came back on and everybody went their own separate ways again,
Yeah.
and we were focused on our home repairs and obviously nothing happening,
Yeah. Then it's a very.
it just
here we
kind
are,
of sucks you in.
a year later, and you're still kind of waiting for that.
I
okay,
almost
we're
never
getting
leave my
somewhere.
home.
Yeah.
I don't like leaving the house. I don't like going. I mean, we still don't even have a grocery store. Well, today, I guess, almost a year later, it finally opened.
Winn-Dixie,
Yes.
Yes. So
Yep.
Winn-Dixie, 2 branches in Bay County are reopening a year after the storm.
Such a great feeling.
I want to highlight that, how great a feeling that is, the conveniences that
Yeah.
we have in
Simple.
life.
I mean, yeah, we don't have, I live in Youngstown, so we don't have any other close real grocery store.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have a Winn-Dixie back.
Yeah. See, and that's simple power of like just such a convenience coming back.
Oh,
and
yeah.
this is a year after the storm.
Yeah, it's hard to believe it's been a year.
Allergies.
I just think emotionally, it's a lot to handle, and people just don't get it. My youngest is in counseling now, because obviously my husband does still have his job. He still has to go out to sea, and she does not handle it well when he leaves anymore.
So now your husband is still working, and he's still going on these extended job situations, and you're working with your children's recovery.
Yes.
What's some insight on that with your children in the year after the hurricane?
They get upset when they see a home that gets demolished. I try to explain it. It's a good thing because that means that, a new home can go there. But I mean, they have students in their classrooms that are still homeless. They see it every day and they feel it a lot.
I'm glad you brought attention to that. So the homeless student population in Bay County a year out is still
It's astronomical. Oh my gosh.
And when you consider a homeless student, it's not necessarily that the student is living under a bridge. A homeless student is technically considered students that are couch surfing.
Yeah, they don't have their own place, and that's important for a kid for stability. They want their own place where they know that they're safe. I mean, thunderstorms absolutely terrify my kids now.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll ever get over that.
Yeah. Maybe. And maybe not, because I was absolutely phobic of storms as a little girl. You might not believe that. And then that phobia turned into this like adrenaline-seeking rush storm chasing.
Really?
Thing as a young adult, yeah, I just started storm chasing. And then before you know it, I'm in college for meteorology, and here I am. So
it is fascinating.
You never know how this experience will affect their future. They might take it and
I
form
hope
something
so.
strong with it. The one thing that we spoke about pre-interview that I think was really, really powerful, and I do not want to forget bringing it up and discussing it a little bit, is your experience with the search and rescue you were talking about?
Yes, it was New Orleans Search and Rescue, and they knocked on my door. Oh my God. It was just seeing those men, and they were in their 40s, 50s, they were older. They went through Katrina and knocking on my door, and
Yeah.
I mean, I had to ask for feminine hygiene products, because we didn't have anything like that around,
Yeah.
to see those men knocking on your door and you knew that everything was going to be okay, that was a lot.
And you're in the situation that you're in with limited resources and having to ask such
For
things
something
of,
as
old
so
men.
simple.
Like, I need some feminine hygiene products, and you're in this situation where you can you ever imagine having to ask an older gentleman that you don't know
No.
for feminine hygiene products?
To not just be able to get it on your own.
Yeah, and that's a unique experience that has not been brought to the table yet. And I think that is why I wanted so many different voices, actually, is the nuance of this experience and something like this, because you have your recurring narratives and themes of going through a storm, but then recovering from a storm, there's so much. And honestly, the amount of time that this interview is taking, it's just the tip of the iceberg. 20 minutes is not going to be enough to dive into your experiences with this at all. I highly recognize that.
It is a lot, but we all learned a lot from it too, so I don't think I would change anything, but
Really?
I don't.
Really? Wow.
I learned a lot.
So powerful.
I learned a lot about, obviously insurance and stuff, but about neighbors. We met neighbors that we had never met. We had one of my daughter's friend's moms brought over ice that she had driven, I think, about 45 minutes to go get. And she was going door to door giving ice to people, even if it was only a little bit. She was doing what she could.
That is awesome. I think that's so powerful that you share that that's your perspective on it. I think that is an amazing perspective. And I think many people could benefit from a little bit of that perspective as well, because unfortunately, we can't change that Michael happened as much as we want to. And so holding on to that good that you're obviously holding on to. And the Hurricane Katrina search and rescue gentlemen that showed up to your door, that showed up to your door, I really am glad that you brought that up, because that is just want to take a moment for like a special thank you to the Hurricane Katrina.
So much thank you.
Victims, search and rescue experience personnel, because that really was the inspiration for this project, was Hurricane Katrina survivors reaching out to Hurricane Michael survivors and going, hey, we've been through it. This is what it was like. Here are the stages. And so now we, in this project, our goal is to do the same. And I think with your
They really
stories-
did. Those men were like a ray of sunshine.
Yeah. And hopefully our voices and your story today and your voice today can do some good in the future for another survivor of another storm that might run across your interview.
I hope
Just
so.
Like I said, I'm going to put it on my page and YouTube, and it's going to be out there. We won't see where it lands, but maybe our voices can be some sort of solace and experience that someone can find in their situation, not feel so alone or lost.
I think it's important to have that. I don't think anybody that wasn't here, that didn't go through something like it, really just can't grasp it.
Yeah.
As far as emotionally, mentally, physically in your town, to see it in that
And when you're trying to talk about it with people that can't grasp it, it's
They
hard,
just, they don't get
isn't
it.
it? It's so hard. So now your voice is out there for someone to hear your experience, what you went through. And when they're struggling with communicating to people that don't know what they're going through, they have this. If they were to like run across it, and they can say, hey, I'm not, this person gets it.
Oh, yeah.
This person gets it. Well, thank you so much for coming out today
Thank
and
you.
sharing your story with me. And I wish you and your little Hurricane Michael voices and your husband an amazing recovery. I hope the insurance
you.
gets its act together. I hope you get some repair soon.
Thank you.
And I hope that by
Just
this
want a
time
roof.
next year,
Hopefully I'll have a roof then.
yes. Let's start
That's
small.
my goal.
Let's hope you have a roof in the next couple of months.
Roof and maybe a couple windows.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be
let's
nice.
hope for more on the repair front sooner than a year out. But thank you so much, Miss Danielle.
Thank you.